when you're your own boss. Did you know that the worst boss you're ever going to have is you? I mean, you think you've had bad bosses before. You're going to be amazed what a horrible boss you are yourself when you're an entrepreneur. Because you're going to be mean to yourself. You're going to make yourself work 120 hours a week. You're going to make yourself not spend enough time with your family because your business is so important to you. You're going to, put yourself in inhuman working conditions because you want to succeed so badly. So be kind to yourself. Use some judgment as you go and do these things. It's much better to go do another experiment and overcome what you're doing wrong than to do those cruel things. So the other thing that's great is to reduce the bad things that go on in the world. And we know there are a lot of bad things going on in the world. So all those kinds of terrible sexual misconduct that unfortunately we hear about from so many places in so many ways, those need to be reduced. Idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contention, jealousy, people having angry outbursts, selfish ambition. In other words, as you start these businesses, you're going to be much more successful if you're being ambitious for other people. If you're being just ambitious for yourself, that's going to lead you to destruction. Divisiveness, heresies, envy, murder. And that's just thinking bad thoughts. Jesus said that was the same as murder. Drunkenness, obviously, taking drugs would be another one. Wild parties and the like. And most of that list is quite a bit longer than the list of good acts. So again, if God looks down the earth, he must be kind of discouraged here. Because there's not a whole lot of good acts and there's an awful lot of these bad acts. And the bad acts aren't just done by the people who aren't, trying to follow him. They're also being caused by people who are trying to follow him. People need help with that. The next slide, please. So, let's again go back to our 17-year-old girl. I'm going to look at the dimension of health fruitfulness. And here I'm going to define this in a very special way, and which is going to refer this back to something that's very specific to each of you. And again, I'm basing this on my beliefs, so if they're not your beliefs, feel free to use your beliefs and look at it from that perspective. But the idea would be of a calling. So my belief is that before the world was formed, God had a plan for each of you. And he had a plan that had two components. One part of the component was to make you unique. In other words, you're taller or shorter than other people, you're fatter or thinner than other people, your hair is different than other people, the way you think is different, just everything about you is unique. And I'm sure you've noticed that. And some of those things are big advantages, and some of those are big disadvantages. And the advantages are there to teach you to be very productive, and the disadvantages are there to keep you humble. And it's very valuable for you to stay humble. The second thing he did about you is he said, given that I've given you all these characteristics, there's a great way for you to use those characteristics. Thank you very much for sending out the drinks here. I'm about to take a break in a minute, you'll get some more. Because you've been patient with our technical problems in my talking. But after this, you'll get a break, so I'll give you advance warning that it's going to get better to get a break, some drinks. So our 17-year-old girl, remember now, she's got this positive attitude. She says, I've got enough health to make a difference. And she's looking for opportunities. And all of a sudden, as she looks out there, she sees one of the saddest things happen to somebody that she's ever seen in her life. A family that was very close to her. They'd been her host family in America when she had come there from China. And she lived with this family for a year, lived with them very closely. And a new baby in that family died. Was less than 14 months old, just suddenly died. And the cause was, while bathing the baby, a little bit of water had gotten in the baby's bronchial tubes, and they had spasmed. And they had spasmed so much that the air passages had closed off, and it was as though the baby had been strangled. And this is something called dry drowning. And there are literally hundreds of thousands of such deaths around the world every year. So, first of all, nobody wants a baby to die. I'm sure, it'd be hard to find somebody who felt that way. But then imagine the terrible burden. Someone may have done something very cruel to them. Someone may have abused them. They may, in some neighborhoods, there was a group of people I met once with youngsters, and every one of the people in the group had seen someone murdered in their neighborhood before the age of 12, and they literally had seen the gunshot kill somebody, the person be stabbed, and so every time they try to sleep, they see this murder, and they think they're going to be about to be murdered. So I asked them the question, well, how old do you think you'll live to be? And they said, we'll live to be 16. And I said, why is that? He said, well, somebody will kill us. And I said, so is that why you don't plan for the future? They said, yeah, that's why we plan, because something, we're not going to be alive in the future. And so you have to realize that these people have these very severe emotional problems. Something really terrible has happened to them, and they need a lot of support from us and everyone else to sort of work through that. And we have to open our hearts and really help with these things. So some of the measures here that we might have would be the number of people who are emotionally capable of fulfilling their callings from God. If you have your own bad experiences from this can disqualify you from performing very much as much as physical disability might do. Second is the number of people who are emotionally able to lift the spirits of those who need help. And third will be the number of actions taken to lift the spirits of others so that they can fulfill their callings. And finally, the number of actions taken to fulfill God's callings by those whose spirits have been lifted. Next slide, please. I had to go into the business. Yes, business. She started a business. 17 years old. She didn't have a college degree. She hadn't been to college yet. She had fresh legs. And her business was going to be producing something that would cause babies not to die this way. So she went out and found experts as you can have, and I'm sure you've all seen pictures of people who have gone through starvation or malnutrition and some of the diseases that affect them. And the second would be the number of people who are working on their callings who have the minimum necessary resources. The other way to think about resources is I wouldn't be talking to you today if we still had to go on sailing ships from America, because that'd still be out in the middle of the Atlantic. But the fact that there are airplanes that can fly me to Africa is a necessary physical resource for me to fulfill my calling. There has to be an internet for me to fulfill my calling because I do most of my teaching that way. So these things are provided. So think about what resources you need. But don't think about resources you need just because they make you happy or they make you feel good or they impress somebody else. Ignore those. Just the ones to do what you were brought on earth to do. So that's what I have to say for opening comments. I've kept to my 1 hour limit. I take no responsibility for the technical issues, but we'll start it again in about 10 minutes. Thank you.
And today, I'm working for the Association of Tour Operators of Tanzania as Chief Executive. I'm sure some of you will be asking, how comes tourism and now management? Anyway, I did a monthly comment announce here, and then I later on did MBA Gisani, which is just, I think, 1 plot away from here. So, for those of you who are residing in Arusha, I'm sure you cannot in any how underestimate the role of contribution of the tourism sector in this country. It is the leading employer, so most of you likely will be working for tourism in a very short while. And today, I'm not here to give any speech, I'm just here to say I'm honored to be invited to join this great panel, and I'm here to pray and encourage those of you aspiring for jobs, aspiring for entrepreneurship, aspiring for whatever career you're dreaming of. I wish you every success in your future endeavors and best wishes.
Yes, also. I've been a member of the RPC, that is Research and Publication Consultants. And for the last 18 years, I've been the chair of that committee. I don't know whether there are staff here, IIA staff. Okay, as the other person said, we are also honored to be here, to be in this place. But more thanks to Madam Steveri and the visitor and the whole team. I think what we are sharing is very important. I remember when Obama came into power, there is a statement that he made. Oh yes, we can. Yeah? And recently we had one of our says, Reginald Mengi, who wrote a book. Yeah? Says what? You don't say it?
Over in your business, going to carry over into your family, it's going to carry over into really everything you do. And so if you kept those 5 dimensions in mind and you set some goals for yourself to doing this thing, you're going to be astonished, and you measure those goals. You're going to be astonished what a difference it makes. There is a famous study that is attributed to happening to every university in the United States. I'm pretty confident it was not initiated at every university in the United States. The claim that seems to be the one that has the most credibility, because it dates back to the earliest date, is one by Harvard University. And they were trying to find what are the characteristics of a person who has a successful life that they described as having been worth living and that made them happy. Very interesting. So you might think, well, it's how much money they made, or what people said about them, how many friends they had. They didn't have Facebook friends in those days, but there are other kinds of friends. But it really wasn't any of those things. What they found made this huge difference was these were people who thought it was really exciting and interesting to go out and do something new. And they didn't feel like they had to have somebody else teach them to do it. They thought it was more fun to go out and figure